Yo, y'all. Yo. Welcome to this episode of Black Beat Podcast, where we take an unapologetically approach to black issues in our community and topics that may affect us all. Today, boy, we got something exciting going on. We're celebrating the jump off of this big year in February during the Grammys. Who celebrated? That was a one-time stub by the Recording Academy. The artists from the past to the present day rocked the mic in tribute, closing out the show in full hip-hop style. We're celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip-hop. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. It goes a long way back, and we all sitting out. We got a few people sitting here at the table here that's at 50, right? That remembered when hip-hop started. I think we still got a few hip-hop babies in here. Gave them the babies of the hip-hop.
There wasn't no hop.
Well, to start this conversation off, boy, we got some exciting folks and guests in the house today, y'all, and I'm really excited about this one. These brothers have been in the industry doing some things, and it's about time we could hear from them and talk a little bit about chopping up some things. And we got, some two of the most exciting ones in this area here. We got DJ Michael Morris. For those of you that don't know Big Mike been doing this for a little bit. And then the exciting sounds also DJ Solo. How y'all brothers doing today, man? Welcome to the table, and I appreciate y'all coming here and chopping it up with us today, man. But what's happening?
Appreciate you having us.
Oh, well, Big Mike,
for having us.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure, y'all. So, hey, man, let's chop this up a little bit. Let's get to doing what we do. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mike. Where you come from, man? How you get here, man, and what's all about, man?
First of all, you keep saying chop it up, and I'm from the old school. You know what chopping it up means to me.
Well, I'm sorry, but let's make sure we get the right
from the street
DJ
and the
terminology
game.
down.
Right. I ain't even talking about the music part of it right now.
Well, my nose nostril ain't so no more.
I only have one. Mine's a uninostril.
Yeah, that's well, at least it's on your head, bro. It's on your head.
Anyway.
So, talk to us a little bit, Mike, about where you coming from, man.
Well, I originate out of Arizona. That's home for me. But I grew up here, back and forth. My mom was a snowbird, so we used to travel, down to Cali and back to Arizona. She has a house out there and one here.
Oh, right on.
My mom passed this last year, so rest in peace, Mom.
Yeah, man. You rest in peace, yeah?
Yes, sir. But, I came up out in Arizona and here, so I was kind of a dual city kind of guy.
Man, come on with it. How long you been doing this, man? I mean, how you get into the game? Tell us, bring us forward.
Okay, I started before high school. I was doing house parties, Lee Green, some of the locals, and Steve and all of them. They was doing house parties, Dusty Cross, Doc Holliday and them. We'd had the Holiday Inn going, so I was doing these after-hour, house party type things, just spinning. I had my, the old school thing. We used to take our stereo to the parties in a basket, a shopping cart. So, yeah, we go back.
Yeah, you was determined about it. I remember seeing you, boy. You had some shit in tow, boy, during that time, boy,
yes,
I tell you.
And then when I got into high school, I started in band, and so I started doing, I played the bass and the alto sax. So I started with the band. What's that mean?
Yeah.
I was wondering what that was. I was like,
Yeah, well, y'all got music coming out your pocket.
Somebody was video calling me. I thought I clicked it off.
Hey, that's a real DJ for you,
I'd be turning my phone on and keep it in my back pocket sometimes when I'm walking.
As soon as you said chop it up, the music come on.
Yeah. Hey, it was one of them songs too. Yeah. Anyways, so I started with band and then quickly got off into radio in high school, and so that's kind of where it took off for me. I did radio for a little bit, but can't stand the repetitiveness of radio.
Yeah.
I like to be able to play whatever I like when I like. In radio, you're kind of obligated to play certain songs because of advertisement and things of that nature, But yeah, so I left the radio alone and got into just parties and clubs and stuff like that.
Turn up vibes.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Solo, how about you, man? How'd you get to this place in your life, man, where you got them sounds coming out of your pocket?
Right. So, first of all, I want to say big ups to each and everybody in here. So, I go by DJ Solo. Solomon's my first name. Moved here from West Africa, Ghana. I believe 2007. Yes. And I've been DJing for, I would say between 10 and 11 years. But I moved here 2007. African, wanted to chase the African dream. My dad lived, here. Unfortunately, he passed away last Monday. Rest in peace. Yes. And I came here. Went to PCC. I went to PSU, bachelor's in science, and after that, I've always loved music. Back in high school in Ghana, I was in the entertainment committee, and came here to Portland, and then I was like, you know what, let me start doing music. But then I was like, you know what, I love DJing too. So that was where it started, and started with the house parties, and then after house parties, started doing a few lounges here and there, and then shout outs to Fawn, shout outs to Fawn. She gave me my first gig at a Freak, down the MLK and Russell. That's where it all started. And after that, it's been history. Just making things happen. DJing the community. I want to say shout outs to PIZ in the building as well.
Wait a minute, bro. You forgot to tell them that you used to be a rapper. Come on.
Right. I mean, I had to throw that away. When I started DJing. So yes, that's basically my story. Yeah.
Well, man, you both you guys brought some exciting sounds, man, over the years, man. And I do like the way you going with it. I mean,
right.
I didn't hear it. I think it was you the first one that I heard that mixed sound on that hip hop and that Afrique.
Oh, okay. Right.
Integration, man.
Right.
And I said, I don't know if it was fun. And somebody else said, something, that shit did hot. It's getting ready to do some things.
Yeah.
So as you were saying, Solo came at the time when hip hop was crossing over to what we know today as Afrobeats.
Right.
And the country where he comes from, Ghana, actually played a very prominent role in the music we know today as Afrobeat.
Right.
So it was a time where the blend of cultures came together. Oh, by the way, I'm DJ PIZ.
Shout outs PIZ.
Yeah, I forgot that. Well, to us, he not DJ B. He run the job, the engineer. So PIZ like this. He decided he wanted to sit in on this one.
I'm DJ PIZ. I'm one of the very first two DJs from Africa to play African music here downtown when there was Red Sea and Sergei's during the Balzers days and stuff like that.
We all remember that time.
Right.
Back tracks about.
I mean, that's a whole. Well, that tells you my age, but let's just skip that part.
Is Ghana the same as Guinea?
No.
Used to be Guinea?
No. But as I was saying, I want to give recognition to Solo within the community of music and the connection with hip hop and how long it has come for these guys to have a place to even be able to play, because you have people like Michael Morris and a few other guys who held the line, right?
Right.
But then they made the way for us, even though we had so much problems as black people being able to do our shows freely with the bureaucracy that was going on. We had to find pockets, and because certain people laid the foundation, it was easier for us, like myself, to come in and play music as a black person first from Africa, and then just as a black person in general. But whilst we were here, the hip-hop fight was going on politically and within government and stuff like that. So I always go back to like Michael Morris and a few other guys who kept this thing going no matter what. They found pockets and stuff like that. But it has been a struggle, and my hope is that we try to touch on that as far as Portland is concerned, history-wise,
Yeah, I think those are some real vital topics, But so Mike, tell me, man, what songs and artists come to mind when you think about the history of hip hop, babe?
Oh, we go back. I mean, Run DMC. Come on now, LL Cool J. These cats have started. And Curtis Blow. I mean, there's so many, coming from back then. And then when you come to the West Coast, Too Short and them started a lot of stuff out here. They were selling CDs. I mean, we used to play cassette tapes, so it wasn't even no CDs back then. And they were selling their stuff out of their trunks out here. And and some of the local artists were doing that as well. we used to make the mixtapes before mixtapes were mixtapes.
Yeah.
You know.
I wound up having, as a producer, I wound up having a garage full of them mixtape
Right.
Artists, because we used to ask the artists in the beginning, look here, man, we're going to produce this stuff, but y'all got to get out and sell it.
Yeah.
Right. But instead, they decided to sell some other stuff.
Yeah.
Chop
They,
it up.
they wanted quick money. Yeah, there it is. That chopping it up coming to come back on you every time.
Right.
So what about you, Mr. Solo? What artists come to mind for you? And when you think about the pathway that you come through, when you think about hip hop?
Right. I mean, yeah, for me, definitely LL Cool J. I'm a big fan of Nas. Back in Ghana, like it was Stillmatic. So Nas. But yeah, LL Cool J, Nas, they are the ones that really like come up in my head. When the topic of hip hop, comes in. I know that there've been like pioneers out there too before Nas time, but yeah, those two are the ones that like stand up in my head when hip hop comes.
Well, that's cool. What about you, Big Ron? I mean, you got a little bit of thoughts about that one?
Well, I mean, they've said most of the guys that I will make mention of, but I kind of like the East Coast, the Method Man, the Red Man,
Right.
the Bun B.
Yeah.
So,
them brothers from the East used to
Right.
crush it. They was crushing. They crushed.
I mean, but then the Southern hip hop came with Nelly and them. It was kind of like a twist because they came up with like Mary J. And one of their artists, what's her name? J-Lo, and one of the artists. That was another turning point for hip hop, which I like because it was them blending now R&B.
R&B and
Right.
hip hop. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Ja Rule and them were good at that. Yo
Right.
Gotti,
Yeah.
and Puffy. Puffy was probably the first one to
yeah.
really start doing that, where he was taking hip hop beats and making R&B songs over them, and
Right,
then bringing in
facts.
like Mary J, people like that, Jodeci.
I remember them days. I mean, going to the underground and in the Bronx and in Manhattan and all that. It was crazy, man. I
Yeah.
mean, they was patting you down on the door to get in there, It was like, well, who the DJ? Well, it's DJ something. Oh, okay, the house is packed. Them brothers was doing it back then, man. So how's what's that popping? I'm hearing spring or something popping.
Oh.
But it must be some more hip hop in my
DJ
head.
Cool Herc
Right.
over here.
So how has hip hop influenced your career, man, as DJs? I mean, over the years, has it, as opposed to any other music, you guys? I mean, how has hip hop affected your music and affected your career?
Right. I mean, for me, coming from Africa, West Africa, to be specific, we actually listened to a lot of hip hop music back home than anything. It was strictly hip hop. We were not even listening to the sounds that were coming from from the motherland at that time. And so it was like, like learning, a whole lot of things, well, sometimes we were just learning the things because we just loved it. We just loved the lifestyle, the words, the lyrics, and everything. So for me as a DJ, when I started, I was doing hip hop because that was what, what I was used to. And, with the story of hip hop, we know that, one of the founding fathers, is Jamaican, and when you trace the ancestry route, they all come from the motherland, so it's like just embracing that culture, made a lot of sense. I mean, I would say, well, it didn't really make too much sense at that time, but then when I came here to the U.S., then, everything kind of, made a lot of sense, being in that, putting the lyrics and, like the lifestyle, kind of putting them together, it began to make a lot of sense, for me to understand, a lot of these things. And I mean, hip hop has definitely, done its thing, paved, the way for a lot of artists, even as an Afrobeat DJ, most of the Afrobeat artists, are being, influenced by, by the hip hop and R&B artists out there.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Right on. So Ronnie, where you want to take it?
So when you look at it, like Solo is saying, in Africa, when we listen to this music, we are fascinated by it. But then when you come here, you become one removed. So now you're not home.
Right.
And then you begin to think about the music back home.
Right.
And then it begins to connect with you. Hey, this beat in this music is the beat that is in that music back home.
Right.
And so it begins to make sense like, oh, I get it now.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could be like when as a DJ, when you even sitting down or driving in the car or listening to music, you can listen to a song and you can connect it to another song that is
Song back home, right?
Back home.
Yes.
And then when you go play now, people see you make this switch, but they don't realize that the hip hop influence is there.
Yeah.
Right.
Both ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Mike, what's it like for you? I mean, because you know, you've been doing a little bit of different style of music, you know, but are you influenced by this Africana influence these days with your DJ? Relationship to what these cats talking about, man.
Well, for me, I grew up with my mom and dad and my uncles and all them. They listened to Aretha Franklin and things of that nature. So I didn't grow up at home listening to hip hop, but in the streets and, when I did these parties, people would request this stuff. And, back then at the parties, of course, they weren't playing the R&B, smashes. Back then, it was all hip-hop because that's all really that was out. Sugar Hill Gang, Spider D, all of these types of bands. Like I said, Run DMC, all of those. So that's how, for as far as influencing me, playing in these parties is what got me started on my journey that I'm on now. But now I'm more of an all-around DJ. I don't just strictly play hip-hop.
Yeah, you've always had a rich glossary, that's for sure. Every time I hear you can dig deep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can go in the crates. We can go in the crates.
Yeah.
So, but let's twist it up. Y'all here now. You're here in Oregon.
Right.
But this scene is I've seen this scene come from where it came from to where it is today, and there's been some serious changes and some serious difficulties. Y'all have had to jump through some serious hoops to be able to play this music and be a part of it. So how has the Oregon scene been to you guys over the years, man, in terms of playing hip hop at events and clubs and all that stuff? How have y'all been able to weather that? And y'all can take that either way. Any one of y'all can take that whenever you want to.
Right. Well, Mike?
Well, for me, it's been crazy. Back in the day, of course, they were closing clubs down if they were playing hip hop. You couldn't play it. OLCC would come in and put stipulations on them. You'd have to close by midnight or keep your blinds open, just certain things.
Neighborhood watches, all
Exactly,
that
all of
stuff.
that.
OLCC.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very influential on what music is played in clubs. I don't know about it now as much because I don't do as much club stuff now. I do more my own thing, and so when I go into a club, they're more concerned about the amount of people that we're getting in there and their money than they're concerned about the music. I have played a couple of spots that don't want to curse music or something, and I'm like, that's like telling a painter how to paint. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really go for that anymore. We'll just do our own event if we have to rent a hall or whatever we do. We don't really worry about the OLCC and those things as much anymore. They don't really have as much influence over us per se. Maybe some of the club owners they have influence over, but most of the cats that own these clubs now, they've been owning them for a while, and they don't really have to put up with that anymore because of the money. Right
on. Well, what about you, Solo? I understand you've had some challenges over the years since you've been here trying to do your thing in the club.
Right. Yeah, so like he was saying, it's from the beginning, and I wouldn't even say from the beginning, but even up till now, there are challenges, as a DJ, trying to play hip hop music here in Portland, Oregon. At first, I wasn't really thinking about it that much because I used to play at a space where we, curated that space for our folks, but it got to a time, when I started to branch out, let's say go to the downtown scene or other bars, in Portland and stuff. And then, like one thing that, they would always ask, oh, what kind of music, are you playing, And then, I never thought about it that way, because I was like playing Afro beats and stuff like that. But then, I play all kind of genre too. So when I'm curating events where it's geared more towards like the hip hop, R&B and vibes, and they ask me that question now, I'm like, okay, why are you asking me that question, So, and it's just been a tough one. It's just been a tough one because I've been at spaces where, I'll be DJing and basically they're they don't feel comfortable because they see a lot of black people over there, you know. And there are some spaces also that will not allow black DJs to play hip hop music. You know, they'll tell you, you know, no, like when you play, like, oh no, we don't want hip hop music and stuff like that. But then, you know, when there are Caucasian DJs playing, they're able to play hip hop music, you know, with the curse words and stuff like that. And you know, to me, it's not fair, you know, and that's one thing that, you know, we've been going through, you know, in and out, and you know, like you're saying, yeah, even up to today, you know, there are some challenges, you know, that I've had that, you know, still kind of keeping an eye to see how that is gonna go.
So wait a minute, wait. Am I hearing you say this right? I'm hearing you say
right.
When y'all go to a club,
right,
y'all get your set on, and they telling y'all up in front, we don't want to have the hip hop is a problem for us, right?
Right.
But then they, you know, as a black jock, y'all can't go in there and drop that. But then you mean to tell me the white DJs can play the stuff?
Yes.
And y'all can't?
Exactly.
I think a lot of that has to do with control. They can control them to whereas they don't control us as much. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that's why they allow that. And you know, they can tell these DJs this is what kind of crowd we want. They can guide them to what they do. This is what we do. And so they don't guide us. Like if somebody was to tell me, you know, I can't do something, they would never get me to play there again, or any of my crowd would go there. Because social media is a beast.
Right.
And we can, just like we can make you laugh by bringing a crowd, we can make you cry by killing your business too. So it's a little bit different now than it was back in the day, but they still have it. They still do that.
Yeah.
What you thinking, Ron?
So, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Oh boy, well you forget. Well, we don't forget. We're in Oregon. You know.
So, a lot of DJs, black DJs, know there was a time in Oregon when they used to send undercover cops dressed as normal people. They will talk to girls, get information from them.
Oh, that was OLCC, wasn't it?
I mean, somebody was doing
Right.
Yeah, that was OLCC undercover.
But these girls, some of them, of course, were young back then, and they had these IDs, and so they would come and get information on how you run your business, and then they will come at first and give you a big fine, like $5,000. Back then, $5,000 was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Right.
A few weeks later, they will come, give you another fine for $10,000. Basically, if you can't pay that money, you're going to be shut down. And then it came to the time when they started rezoning Portland to where all clubs used to be, like Williams was rezoned.
Yeah.
And those who had money, who were able to fight back, like Cleos and them, they sent CDC people to go and check the kitchen. There's grease here, you need to fix this. So when they give you all this stuff on the ticket to fix, and you look at it,
right,
you have to determine between
shutting down or
selling it.
right.
And you know, Ron, it's kind of interesting, man, because when we look back at it, you know, I was actually thinking about that. There used to be a couple of bars on MLK, right?
Right.
And over the years, man, that whole strategic agenda through OLCC would not allow drinking establishments on the MLK corridor. And there was only one liquor store on this MLK corridor, and it's been here the whole time. And I remember Terrell Brandon used to own it, and then he sold it. But the whole idea is that they constantly have monitored that hip-hop movement over the years to where they almost just about destroyed y'all in that
Absolutely. They did
industry.
They did that with the Conga Club.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
it's one
because
up the
they have
street,
the Alberta Street District now, and those people kind of regulate. So when they said, they kind of made them their monitors, so they could say, "Oh, it's on them.
Wow.
This is the community saying that they don't want
don't
this
want
here."
you guys there.
Yeah, and it really wasn't. We knew what it was.
But was it a transition, man? At some point in time, was this hip hop? It was divided up a little bit, right? In my understanding, there was hip hop, and then there was gangster rap, and all this stuff coming in. Did any of these changes in the music style maybe change the social conditions also in terms of how we was received, or how the music was received, and how y'all was playing it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it goes with experience. Okay, like you can play gangster rap in some places if you know the people who are coming from one crew. Now, if you don't know the crew and they get together in one place and one who begins to throw signs over there. If you're not aware of the signs to change the music, you're creating a problem.
Right.
But it was I remember there's a DJ friend of mine, DJ MM. At the end of the night, it will play songs like One Love, Nice to Know You, like songs that will kind of like
Calm people.
That will calm people.
So it will take you from that hype state of mind that you were. So when you go in, instead of thinking about the other stuff, now you're thinking about One Love, or you will play
Right.
Lovers Rock, like put you in the mood to go with your girlfriend or whoever.
That was before Hennessy, though.
Yeah.
That was before.
Now that Hennessy is on the scene and Patron,
The Hennessy in the system.
You know,
Casamigos,
you know, a lot of
that's
y'all-
out the door.
You know, a lot of y'all talk about hip hop as if when Motown come out, the same thing happened way back then, even though it was before your time.
Okay.
The same kind of stuff happened because white folks associate music with violence, and they've always done that. You know,
Right.
it's sort of like pre-hip hop, Gil Scott-Heron. Whenever he would do a show, because Gil Scott-Heron was actually on Heron, right? Whenever he would do a show, there would be a crowd here in Oregon. The difference between the crowd was most of the folks were white, so they allowed that to happen. But when Gil Scott would come to town and most of the folks looked like me and you, then the police and all the political bullshit would occur. So it's not, this didn't just happen with hip hop,
Right.
because hip hop generated from Motown and everything else.
But you see, one thing again that both Solo and Michael Morris said is this. My experience has been this in Portland. You will go to a club where there's a white DJ and a white owner, and they have a fight outside. That club will run for years after that. But
Closed down.
if it was a black club and there was a fight outside, it's closed immediately.
Yeah.
Within months.
Or the stipulations, like you said,
Yeah.
are so
steep for.
strong that you can't survive.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
It's like the way the system is set is for us not to get to where we want to go with what we're doing.
You have to
Right.
think about this too. We've had black athletes in this city for many years.
Yeah.
And not one of them has ever opened anything here. I mean, you go to any other city and there is
Right.
going to be a ball player or something that owns a club, a restaurant, something
Yeah, Zach
that
used to come downtown.
attracts other black
Zach
folks.
Randolph, when he was here, he
That's
used to
right.
come downtown. But they used to follow him downtown because the way he went, the police.
Yeah, well, Cliff and them, they've always came to our spots. When we and
Right.
Kevin were at One Main Place, they've always been to, our spots to come in, but to own. So that lets you know something right there. They
Right.
know something that we don't know,
Right.
you know.
Well, but that drift is shifting.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I mean, most people are going to the origin of the source now instead of
Exactly.
waiting on the source to be trickled down to them. But then that's a whole overall movement that we're talking about. But what I want to talk about is how did the transition get to silent? At what point in time did we actually go silent in Portland, man, in terms of the music scene? I mean, what happened? Mike, you was still chopping it up in all kinds of different little small venues, and I know DJ Solo was trying to, and I know also you, Ron, was trying to put some things together. But what happened to the scene after Tupac? After Ice Cube, Ice-T, all of them, they came through. All that came through, and then what happened?
And then fatigue sets in.
Y'all got tired, huh?
Okay.
I'm tired.
Y'all too young to be tired.
10 years plus ago, when I met Solo the first time, it came to a point where I would just do parties at home and invite people because
Right.
that was my spot. You
Right.
go party till 5 o'clock in the morning. You can't tell me I'm not under OLCC
Right.
or anything like that.
Right.
Because it was just at a point where when you go to these places, there were so many stipulations and stuff that you have to be concerned about that it didn't even make sense. So
Right.
having your party at home was the thing.
Right.
But then, big up to you, Solo.
He said,
You came back and you're like, man, I want to do this Afrobeat thing, and I got a spot. You gotta
Right.
do it. And that actually in Portland changed the the scene for Africans and African Americans who actually were interested in African music. So whilst people like us started it, it kind of died with us because we were still playing music, but we were in these little holes that didn't really make sense. But then when you came in, maybe because you were bold and you didn't have that fear that we had, you were able to take it to the level that you took it to. And now, all of us are proud because your influence in music, being hip-hop and doing what you do, some of us who were like withered leaves have water now that is making us grow again. So we're coming out like, oh, okay, a young cat did it, man. I mean, I let me go and do this thing again.
Right.
So you gotta respect that.
Right.
I just want.
Yeah, but I would also say, I mean, shout outs to Mike,
Big Mike, he been holding it
Mike
down
Morris,
for a while,
man, because like when I moved to Portland, I used to go to most of his parties, down in Vancouver.
Yeah, because
all of the places, and I would say, personally for me, it's like he kept the momentum going. The only time I seen that Mike Smith wasn't really doing a whole lot of thing was during COVID time. And I mean, all of us weren't doing anything.
That's because you never hired me. I was doing those virtual events.
Right, but I mean, like he kept it. He kept the vibe going. Like he was at different places. And he kept the energy going. For me, I started more as as the Afrobeat DJ. So I didn't get to face a lot of problems, with the parties that I was doing, like for the past 10 years straight, and just kept going. But then it's like when it got to times where, I'll be doing like events that is curated to bring, African Americans and Africans together, that was where the challenges, started coming in.
Come on, boy, talk to us a little bit about that. Come on, man.
Right. So right, like I was saying, anytime, I went to a venue to start curating something, I would say, so when I started Catching Sunset, it's a summer party, which is basically curated to bridge the gap for, the African Americans and Africans, and also the diasporans and the ones back home in Africa. And when we started, at a rooftop, on was it on Sandy, at Lolo Pass, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was good. I mean, you got to see the African Americans coming out of pockets, because it was summertime. The vibe was good. And I told my friend, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I've always been praying for. We kicked it off, and then, we started having, backlash, from the neighborhood, to the point where they had to print out brochures on how to boycott the party brand, like the party itself,
Now, was that coming from the white neighborhood or the black neighborhood?
From the white neighborhood. And they would have like megaphones downstairs in the lobby, like, shouting like,
say the music is too loud.
Right, and nothing, like we were in compliance, and so then, we had to talk to the management, at that establishment, and, personally I felt like, like they were not on our side, knowing for a fact that we did not break any rules, we didn't, anything, to make this thing happen, and we actually brought people to kind of know that place. We brought business in, to that place. So I had to, make that decision with my business partner as well, that, hey, you know what? I think we have to end the series, ASAP, because I felt bad, walking around seeing black people smile and having a good time, and behind closed doors, I kind of knew exactly what was going on. I just felt like, you know what? I'll be betraying them, doing that. So we had to, end the summer series over there. And, since then, it's like, there are other places that, when we were doing events, they're like, oh, what kind of genre? And for me now, it's like a red flag for me. If you ask me that question, we talk, that's it. I'm not even going to, I'm not gonna hit you up again. And it's like some of them would want my business, like, oh yeah, we want you to come DJ over here, but we don't want you to promote. I'm like, hold up.
Wow, hold up.
You want my vibes, but
Yeah.
you don't want my people.
Oh, boy, come on.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, they're trying to use you to create their own space, which
Right.
is what I was saying what they would do with the white DJs downtown,
Right.
allowing them to play the black music. They'll play enough to get you drawn in there, but then they go to their genre of music and the hip hop is out.
Right. And now they keep saying, oh yeah, what they say, quote unquote, oh yeah, we love the Afrobeat vibes, yeah, give us the Afrobeat, the Amapiano vibes, and some, we definitely want some R&B, maybe just a little hip hop, like 90s or early 2000s.
That's stuff that they know.
Right.
Stuff that they know.
And I'm like, well, like, come on. Like, yeah, I know I'm growing old, but there are a bunch of young cats, around. The music they listen to is different from what we listen to. Yes, they still vibe with the throwbacks, but we still need to, provide their vibe as well, so they can feel comfortable and stuff like that. So it's just hard. So far as it's hip hop, they just
That's a red flag. For
that is a red flag. And personally, I'm sick and tired of it, to be honest. And
Man, you cats sound like ambassadors and crowd pleasers. And
Right.
man, just hearing you talk about some of the things that we actually in the black neighborhoods, kind of like historically, and I think me and DJ Ron, we talk about it a little bit, and also Jock Harrison over here. We talk a little bit about how the two diasporas from Africa and American blacks, how this whole integration process is a little jagged from time to time. You're right, and we all have our perceptions about how that works, right? But what I'm hearing you say, DJ Solo, is that you've had opportunities to where you've seen some magic happen in the music world, where you can, where them two things have drawn these two communities together.
Right.
And man, that's some fantastic stuff, man.
It is, actually, it is. It's a very good thing, and I personally think that it was able to happen more because there's been a lot of transplants in Portland now, especially with the black.
The demographics is
Right,
different. Vastly different.
Right, and it's like most of the blacks moving into Portland come from bigger cities.
Yep.
From L.A., from New York, Chicago, ATL, and in those bigger cities, they're way ahead of Portland. A lot of African Americans in ATL know that when we want to turn up, we go to where the African party is at. But then they play all kind of genre. When you go to New York, that's the kind of vibe.
Me and him are from that coast.
Right, exactly, right. Portland has been, kind of behind, but gradually it's actually working. Like you say, we've put in our work to make this happen, open the spaces, and now, we get to see other curators,
doing the same
doing a lot of things. You see the Black Girls Brunch doing their thing. You see Melanin Saturday, doing their thing. What else do we have out there? You see Brown Sugar doing their thing. And with all these parties, we get to see African Americans and Africans coming together just through music.
And then
we get more
when we work together. But say, for example, what we do Sold Out Friday, they say ladies light out.
Right.
We say R&B and Afrobeat. We didn't say hip hop and Afrobeat, because the funny thing is social media also has a lot of people. It's not just us watching what's going on. They're watching us too, and they keep tabs on what we do. So how you present your show sends red flag or makes them leave you alone. So when we do our shows, we give like Solo has a show called Gyrate. A lot of people don't know what gyrate is.
Right.
Sit on it and gyrate.
So but when you come there, you get a blend of everything.
Right.
And then it's kind of like sprinkled for everybody to have fun, but in a sensible way. But the system here is set up so that it's programmed in certain people's heads that wherever you meet black people having fun, somehow it's a thing to be afraid of.
Right.
Which is not the case.
Which right, and that's the thing. It shouldn't be the case that we have to be forced to water down the culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because
that
I
makes
mean,
sense.
hip hop is hip hop. You know,
Music is
our
music.
music is music. You know, I mean, we all go to hip hop concerts. We all turn up. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle. The same way Afrobeat is a culture. It's a lifestyle. So I mean, if it's a lifestyle, if it's the life that we've all known and created the sounds around it, why should that be the bad one?
But it's like saying
You know?
you can drink alcohol, but you can't curse. But
Right, you know, so
Or
for
you
me,
can't fornicate.
right, you know, I just wish that, you know, curators, you know, can just freely do the things that they want to do without being judged. I mean, hey, I'm black. We are all black. This is part of us. You know, you cannot take away that. Like I always say, for me, you cannot take away my Africa, for sure. You know, we are black people. You cannot take away our blackness from us. If this is a sound that we love, there's been a lot of parties that hip hop has been played and nothing happens. It's just the fact that, you know, when they see black people all together in one space, that is what the issue is in mass numbers.
Yeah, but let me be well, I don't want to be the devil's advocate,
Right.
but let me just be an advocate for the opposing side. I mean, well, why would we want to give y'all heathen some space when every time we put y'all together, y'all kill each other? How are we addressing those kind? Because that was one of the most, as a club owner, that was one of the most uncomfortable aspects of having DJs, those types of things coming at it like they was at. Because there was always some kind of stuff there. Yeah. So how do y'all regulate that? How do y'all regulate that reality in y'all present, you know, in the spaces that y'all presenting? And how do y'all regulate the possibility of violence and those types of dispositions and behaviors in y'all settings?
Well, kind of it is what he just said. It's how you advertise it. It's what you put on the flyer. And, you know, like back in the day, we'd make flyers with girls on them, bottles
Yeah,
of liquor,
there you go.
shoes. You don't see any of that anymore. I don't think Solo has done that for quite a while either. And
No.
I stopped that many moons ago. So when people see that flyer, you're telling them, in essence, you're basically telling them this is what this party is going to be about.
Yeah.
So it's how you project yourself and what you advertise.
Right.
And I think that has a lot to do with it.
and the music itself is not the problem.
Right.
Because, see, hip hop was just music until the infiltration started. When you begin to divide the crowd and inject it with drugs, things happen. We didn't have money to bring those drugs in those spaces. Those drugs were supplied to us, which in turn affected some of the behaviors. We just gotta call it what it is.
Are we going back to chopping it up again?
I think so. But hey, y'all, but look at it, man. This has been real wonderful opportunity,
Right.
man. I want to have this keep going on, man. But in light of some of y'all's timings and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So how do y'all see, looking in the future? How do y'all see black entertainment in the future of hip hop in Oregon moving forward? What do y'all see as the next step
Right.
to be able to keep it alive?
Right. I mean, I do see a lot of progress. You know, I see a bunch of like curators, you know, doing a lot of great things to bring people together. You know, I've been seeing, you know, people putting together shows, you know, like open mics. You know, like basically putting together events that's, you know, catered for a hip hop, you know, the hip hop crowd here in Portland, and they're doing an amazing job. You know. I've been to a few of them, never seen any fights. You know, it's been going smoothly. So I think, you know, we just got to keep pushing, you know, keep spreading the positive vibes out there. And then, you know, things are going to, you know, fall in place as well.
Mike, your thoughts?
I think that we should come together
Right.
more. You know,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is part of the problem too. We don't have anything that we call our own. Everything that we do is in someone else's space.
Correct.
So I think when we get our own space, it'll change. You know, if we can show the city that we can operate our own space and condone, you know, take care of our own people.
Come.
I think that we'll
man,
go forward.
come. DJ Ron?
Well, I agree with both of them. I really feel like if we have more black-owned spaces,
Right.
we will have a better chance at, you know, presenting our
Our
culture.
story,
Yeah.
right.
because we understand who we are.
Correct.
They don't. There are certain things you can teach, and hopefully, the next podcast we're going to do with the next guest that we're going to get to address those things.
Right.
Just looking forward to talking to like producers, promoters, former cloners in Portland.
Right.
What they went through over the years to build the city. Because there were meetings with us that most probably the DJ was in part of.
Correct.
But the guy just comes to you after the meeting and says, you know what, we got to change a few things. It's not going to go into details, but we need more of our kind with spaces for us to be able to do
function.
our, yeah.
Right.
Man, you know, this has been really rich, y'all. I mean, I'm totally excited about where we're going with this. You know?
Right.
I mean, and too bad we didn't. Well, let's do this again.
Definitely.
You know, y'all. I don't know what y'all been hearing, my listeners, but boy, this has been one pack 'em, jack 'em, chop 'em up kind of session. You chop 'em. You know?
We chopping it up.
Yeah, we chopping it up. And hey, so come on, y'all, give a shout out as to how people can contact y'all for your services, so forth and so on. Let them know how to get a hold of each one of y'all. Solo, how people get a hold of you, man? And,
Yeah, you can
what's
follow
next?
me. You can follow me on my social media handles. DJ Solo _PDX. That's my Instagram, my Facebook, and then you can hit me up via email at afrobeatpdx1@gmail.com.
Mine's DJ Michael Morris on Facebook and Instagram, and just Michael Morris on Facebook, and DJ MIM at Yahoo if you want to email me.
Right on.
Mine is DJ _PIZ on Instagram. It's the same as Ronald Smith, DJ PIZ on Facebook.
Man, it's put in a lot of work.
He's still working.
Right.
Hey, and y'all, I appreciate the work y'all put in.
Thank you so much for having us.
Hey, this has been excited, folks. This may conclude our session with Black Beat for this moment, but y'all stay tuned because we coming back at y'all with this topic, and because this is an exciting episode right here for me, and I think where we're trying to take this is going to be, so y'all need to stay tuned for where we're taking it. And again, y'all have a great afternoon.
Alrighty.
And hey, y'all, thank y'all for coming
Thanks for
in
having
Thank you so
us.
much for having us.
and chopping it up with us.